The Iraqi Air Force says it has carried out a deadly raid against ISIL in neighbouring Syria. Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi says he ordered the strike because of the danger the militants pose to Iraqi territory. A video released by the Air Force shows two F-16 fighter jets in action. The military says the attacks were carried out in coordination with the Syrian government. In December, Iraq declared victory against ISIL. However, the terror group still controls pockets of desert along the border with Syria. Well, let's get you more now on those developments in Syria. I'm joined from Damascus by our correspondent, Allah Ibrahim. Allah, what's the latest on the investigation into the alleged chemical weapons attack? How frustrating have the delays been?
Well, it seems, according to our sources, that the initial team from the OBCW security detail were able to access the town of Juma, and local sources in southern town tell us that there has been no incidents so far to indicate that the team won't be able to move in tomorrow and continue with its investigation regarding the alleged use of chemical weapons in two different sites in the town of Juma. That being said, we should mention that the task ahead is extremely complicated for the investigators. It has been almost 12 days since the alleged attack took place on April 7th, and since then a lot of things have changed. There could be people who have stepped into that's the site of the attack, and there has been allegations by the rebels that the government might be tampering with the site. The government also accuses the rebels of trying to stage the whole attack to frame the government with the use of chemical weapons. So in conclusion, it will be a very difficult task ahead for the OBCW in Duma town, and the technical aspects won't be easy. They will start by collecting soil samples, interviewing local eyewitnesses, where they will hear many conflicting accounts from these eyewitnesses. CGTN was at the site of the attack almost 48 hours ago, and we interviewed several eyewitnesses in that place, and they told us different accounts of how the attack took place and who was behind that attack from the perspective of these relatives of the victims, who many of them died in the attack of April 7th that claimed the lives of over 40 persons and 500 injured, according to rebel sources.
So it is bound to be a difficult situation there, Allah, but what can you tell us about the Russian-led negotiations between the Syrian government and the rebels?
Well, the Russians are negotiating or helping the negotiations between the government and the rebels in several locations across the country. Some of these locations are close to Damascus, like Admir town, where a Russian mediated process has allowed the rebels to be evacuated completely out of that town, located northeast of Damascus. And it seems that these negotiations will go on to a district north of the capital known as the Eastern Qalamun. And with these negotiations, the government, if they are successful, obviously, the government would be able to clear all of Damascus countryside of any rebel presence or any militant presence in the upcoming few days. The Russians are also trying to mediate in the northern parts of the province of Homs, which is located in central parts of the country. But these will be a much more difficult negotiations because the rebels still maintain a very large military power inside that enclave in the towns of Al-Rassal and Talbisa, and as a result, they won't be inclined to accept the terms of the government as rebels have done in other places across the country, the last of which is East Ghouta, where an intense campaign by the Syrian government of shelling and aerial strikes and artillery strikes, in addition to a sweeping ground offensive, has actually forced the rebels into accepting the terms of being evacuated out of Eastern Ghouta, one of the closest and most important strongholds for the rebels across the country.
All right, Allah Ibrahim joining us there from Damascus. Thank you.